Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we are going to be looking at the weekly meta breakdown for Standard Best of 3. And what we do here is look at the top performing decks of the week on the MTG Arena ladder. We get the stats from Untapped GG, which you see on the screen. It's a companion tool that runs alongside Arena Client, tracks win rates, loss rates, deck collections, a whole bunch of useful features. Link is in the bio, in the video description. If you want to download it, like I said, free to use a whole bunch of functionality. I'll also paste all these deck lists into the video description if you want to import them into MTG Arena. We do this for each of the formats. If you're looking for Standard Best of 1, for example, Explore, Historic, sometimes Alchemy, just look at the playlist. You'll find the video for the week or the most recent based on data sets, and you can click in there. Greatly appreciate it as always. If you can, drop us up on the channel or like, comment on the video. All are free and easy ways to help out. So jumping in, we are looking September 23rd to the 30th. Just towards the end of the standard season, and we've had 33,000 matches of Magic. So remember, this is best of 3, so 2 to 3 times the amount of games. So just say 66 to 99,000 Platinum to Mythic rank. The top performing deck of the week is Esper Legendaries. Esper Radadrabik. So 4 mana, 3/3, Vigilance Ward. Other zombies you control have Vigilance. Whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it's a 2/2 black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. So a lot of legendary cards in the deck. So what do we got? We got AO, really powerful. Vigilance gets around Wandering Emperor. Speaking of Wandering Emperor, you got 4 of Shieldred. You're just trying to stack that Shieldred tax on your opponent. You have Urtai Resurrected as removal and counterspell. Adeline as a legendary. Anointed Peacekeeper, not legendary, but a good taxing effect. You got Kaido as a way to kind of get some card advantage. Rafine really helps smooth out your draws. You are playing a lot of legendaries, so there's a chance you draw 2 of them at the same time. We got everybody's favorite Raven Man. Really good into like a Liliana meta. If they're forcing you to discard, well, you get birds, and then you can force your opponent to discard. You got a Meat Hook in there, 4 of Thalia, some Jadars, some Ellis Ilkor, Sadistic Pilgrim. Kind of the Blood Artisty effect, just amplified. Soul Warden and Blood Artist had a baby. This is what you get. Some Destroy Evils, Make Disappear scattered in there as well. You're also playing Plaza Heroes. Another tri-land in these colors since you have so many legendaries, but also can be used for protection. Sideboard-wise, this is a collection of cards. Eaten Alive, I don't know why that's in here as removal. You're probably going to want just more dedicated Infernal Grasp, stuff like that. There is, I guess, fodder in the tokens and stuff, but you're not on Wedding Announcement, stuff like that. Largely, I think this mana base can probably, or this sideboard could be a little bit better. But you have stuff for like grindier matchups and Planeswalkers, Close, Liaisa, against discard decks. Toulouse gets cards back to your hand. Some counters where needed, Denic for like graveyard decks or more aggressive decks. But you probably want to have this more just kind of tailored as these are the cards for, like I'd probably rebuild this sideboard. I don't love it. But like these are all individually okay cards in kind of the grindy matchups, but I'd probably play either some cut downs, another Meat Hook, maybe some Wedding Announcements in the side as just kind of card advantage. The Make Disappear is good. Disdainful Stroke could be another option. Infernal Grasp if you just want to have more removal, or not Soul Shatter. The 3 mana Exile, Planeswalker, or Creature, and then if you have Artifact Enchantment, I forget the name. We'll get to it in a sec. Soul Transfer. Not Soul Shatter, Soul Transfer. So second best deck is Mono Black Control for the week. This is pretty stock list. We have the 3 of Bankbuster. Soul Transfer can be triggered with both Meat Hook and Bankbuster to get both modes. You got some Sorens, Shieldred, 4 of Invoke Despair. I'm liking the Roadside Reliquary in this deck as a way to kind of get some card advantage. Plays similar to the Soul Transfer, but very good deck. You're not going to run into mana issues that often. You have some very powerful individual threats, and Meat Hook goes over the top of a lot of these decks. I've been playing this for the most part. I went down 1 swamp and put a Fable Passage because some of the 3-color decks, the Esper decks, aren't playing basics, so you could strip mine them. And I think I went 2 Bankbuster main and 2 cut down main. You got cut downs, duresses, so these are going to come in like creature decks, aggro decks. Cut duress. I'm not 100% certain if you want them in the mirror. I haven't played the matchup enough, but more kind of control-y or big mana decks. You have the Pithing Needle if you want to name like specific planeswalkers, anything like that. Parasitic Grasp. There's a lot of kind of incidental humans. I actually ran into Bant Humans decks, and then this card's really good, but it's also just for 3 mana. It's a removal spell that also gains you back some life. Bankbuster when you want to grind. Meat Hook for the creature decks. Weenie style decks, you have Malicious Malfunction, also good again into the Wedding Announcement decks before they can prop too many anthems. And then some more Soul Transfers when you need to just deal with bigger individual threats or stuff that you want exiled. You then go to Grixis Midrange. So kind of a very similar deck, but you get access to red, and most importantly, Fable the Mirror Breaker, kind of the engine that holds together a lot of these mid-range shells. Creature, draw, discard, where you can throw stuff like Tenacious Underdog in your graveyard, or you get just the ability to start copying, like Corpse Appraiser's main deck Graveyard Hate. That can also get you card advantage. You can copy Bloodtithe Harvester for removal as well. Top end, you got some Urtise and Shieldred, both very powerful 4-drops. Lots of removal, Soul Transfer, Meat Hook, Voltage Surge. This version's playing a couple of Vona's Vortex to be a tempo play, as well as Fires of Victory, which can kind of be a scalable burn spell as well. And then you got the Bankbusters, because you got Grind. Similarly, like Hand Hate, removal, Artifact Hate, good against like the Anvil decks, for example. More grind, more removal, like sweepers when you need it, Graveyard Hate, or just decks that have a lot of single targeted removal. You kind of tax them that way there. Also pretty good into like when you need incidental life gain, say against a mono red deck. Like mono red's got a pretty much 2-for-1 themselves a lot of times. And then more grind, like more catch-all removal, and then Sorin is available for the grindier matchups. We then go to Boros Midrange, Boros Reanimator, 57% win rate. So this deck is looking to throw cards into your graveyard, ideally some of the bigger threats in AO or Sanctuary Warden, and bring it back with Invoke Justice with a bunch of counters on it. You're putting cards into your graveyard a number of ways. You have Rafine's Informant that lets you connive. You have Fable the Mirror Breaker or Restoration of Ajanjo to also throw cards into your graveyard. And then the rest of the deck's just kind of pulling it together. Wandering Emperor on its own, very powerful threat. You got some Spirited Companions to draw some cards, and then Fateful Absence as removal, along with a Bankbuster for card draw. Sideboard, you have March as catch-all kind of removal, Destroy Evil for some bigger stuff, some more Fateful as catch-all removal, Lion Sasher Graveyard Hate, Bankbuster for card advantage, more Graveyard Hate, Wedding Announcement for kind of the grindier matchups when you want to play a fair game, or just even sometimes against the more aggressive decks, just having blockers if they don't have trample, stuff like that. And then Farewell as a pretty good just catch-all reset button if you want to go shift into becoming more of a control deck. You have a lot of just good control elements like Wandering Emperors, Sanctuary Ward, and stuff like that. So it's a good kind of catch-all. Like Celestia Enchantments, I just absolutely destroy you. We then move to Esper Midrange, so non-Legends version. You got some AOs, Wandering Emperor on the top end with a single Shieldred. Rafine is the kind of the glue that holds the deck together. Wedding Announcements, just a very powerful card. Bodies or card draw and Anthem. Kaido as kind of a catch-all, like card advantage engine. Underdog in the graveyard got value. By putting things in the graveyard, you can also get back with a Visionary. Visionary is a good target with Rafine's counters as well to put stuff on there. You got some flash elements as well between Wandering Emperor, Resolute Reinforcement, some counter spells or removal, all kind of mixed into there. And then your sideboard, like Hand Hate, Tempo, Bounce, Shieldred removal, or just big stuff, good against AO as well. Bigger mana decks, just counters when you need them. Card advantage, sweepers, Graveyard Hate, grind elements. Then go to Gruul Boy Aggro. 55% win rate. This deck's looking to go fast, smash hard. So 1-drops, Ascendant Pack Leader gets bigger when you cast your 4-drops. Phoenix Chick comes back from the grave and is a pseudo-evasive creature. Kumano pings, pumps, and deals with some exile. You have Llanowar Loam Speaker that helps you go 2 to 4 mana, where your 4-drops are the most powerful in the deck pretty much. Also helps with some mana fixing if needed. And then it can also just animate lands and then give them haste. So it's a good kind of late threat to just pump out more power. Instead of attacking with a 1/3, you attack with a 3/3. Beast Caller gets bigger as you cast more things and can redistribute counters. Yavimaya Iconoclast is a 2-drop that's a 3/2 trample that can also be kicked for 3 mana, become a 4/3 haste for the turn. Squee comes back from the graveyard and just kind of overruns the board if left unchecked. So kind of your escape card in the deck, gives you some value. Halana pumps the team, gives counters. Thundering Raiju gives counters, is haste, it does a kind of alternate damage with the modified ability. Plays very nicely together. So there's like a counter sub-theme. So think of this almost like Gruul modified, kind of mixed in. You have protection spells for lots of targeted removal, enchantment, artifact, hate, even just like decks that want to play at instant speed, you get kind of free value. There's a lot of incidental enchantments in the format, Fable of Mirror Breaker, stuff like that. For the grindier matchups, you got some card advantage. Bouncer's Beatdown is a cost-reduced black card, or target black card, so it's basically green mana to target a black permanent, and it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control, and then you get to exile it. Rending Flame is basically staple this to a Shieldred and hope it dies and burns. For the grindier matchups, you have some Arlen, lets you kind of get around some of the targeted removal, even against like Farewell decks, and then a Tushi for more of the grindy matchups, or when you need to go over the top. Like Wedding Announcement decks could kind of stonewall the like Halana, because you can have the biggest creature in the world, but if they have a bunch of 1/1s, you're not really doing much. The Flying Trample could be relevant as well. And then lastly, this was pretty much the record is from Gold Rank, to be honest. When I go to Platinum, it doesn't show up, but this was a cool Jund list. In Gold Rank, it's got 66%. So it's like a Jund mid-range deck, but it's got like Namada doing its best Kalidas impression, some Unleashed Inferno in the main, Fables, Graveyard Trespasser. So it looks like pretty strong overall. I just want to share this one. Like Unleashed Inferno is really powerful against a lot of these decks, can kind of 2-for-1 your opponent. Namada against like heavy removal decks can kind of give you tokens and get you some value. Got some Jayas in the side. So a lot of like powerful cards. I'd be curious to see how this one plays out, but just want to share this one as well. So in any case, gonna wrap this one up. Season will be ending probably Friday when this comes out anyways. I'll be out once the ladder resets, and we'll do a kind of push to Mythic, so it'll be on YouTube live likely, and then hopefully over the weekend as well. But as always, if you can, drop a like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate the support, and have a great one.